ghost. Well, I have seen one. And what about it? What I'm about to tell you this evening is true. I will not use any special effects. The story is best left to your imagination when you are up in witness. Some years back, when we were staying in England, London to be exact, I've drawn a map here. It's quite large, so everybody can see from the back. We stayed in London for approximately 3 years. And during that time, we stayed at a place called Highgate, which is actually north of London. It is a 3-story house, and it was situated at a very lovely hilly area. However, behind the hilly area is a cemetery, and this cemetery is quite well known in the tourist guidebooks. You know, that it is a must-see place to visit when you go to London or England. Yeah, must-see place. Really, the stones, the tombstones are really very old and really ornate. Unlike the modern tombstones, it's just plain stone. That's it. You know, with the names and everything. They're really beautifully carved. You know, words for the deceased in the ornate tombstones. Anyway, every weekend we would travel out of London because you see, traveling out of London, it is like many tentacles, roads leading up north to Scotland and to the southwestern part of England. Now, we would travel 4 or 5 hours out of London and see many places in England. The thing is, what we did was, on this occasion, our Irish friend Rita Parsons also traveled with us. And she's a senior nurse in one of the hospitals. And on this occasion, she decided to follow us on our trip. What we did was, we headed west first to Salisbury Plains. In England rather, when you pronounce a name like Salisbury, you don't say is, you say Salisbury. It's S-A-L-S-B-U-R-Y, Salisbury Plains. Now, at Salisbury Plains is very famous also. It's also in the tourist guidebook. There are a lot of rectangular stones built by these ancient prehistoric men. Men actually, they were half-naked men in animal skins and so on. So why they did that? Not many people have an idea of why. The reason is because in those days they don't have television, nothing better to do, so they decided to keep us guessing on what they wanted to do with all the stones in circles. Then we headed southwest. After we saw Salisbury Plains, which is here, we decided to head to the southwesternmost tips of England. On this occasion, we headed for the town called Truro. Now, Truro is a town by the seaside, and we stayed in a hotel fronting the seaside. On the road approaching Truro, it was snowing because it was very cold, it was winter. And what we did was, when we stopped the car for the night, we had to put antifreeze in the engine, otherwise the car wouldn't start the next day. The whole engine would be frozen up with the cold. Okay, back at the hotel, we were shown 2 rooms for the 4 of us. There were 3 ladies. There was my daughter, myself, my friend Rita, then my husband. My husband stayed in a smaller room, and for the 3 of us, they showed us a bigger room across the passageway. For the room, when you entered the room, you saw one bed directly opposite and parallel to the wall. That was where our friend Rita would sleep during the night. On the left, there will be 2 other beds, and that will be where myself and my daughter will be sleeping. My daughter will sleep on my right. When my daughter entered the room, instead of a usual curious chatter, she would talk all sorts of things, she'll ask questions, this and that. She was then only 6 years old. This time she didn't ask any questions. She started praying. And then she asked all of us to pray too. So we did. We followed her. After a while, we were all tired, so we went to sleep. Then we heard the sound. I heard the sound rather. Breathe up. And startled, I looked up and wondered who was the one who was making noise. It was my daughter. She was sitting bolt upright on the bed on my right, and she was looking at something. This was a lady in white. So I looked at the lady, and when I looked at the lady, that was when she vanished into thin air. But she gave us a smile before that. So,
That was nice.
yeah, that was very nice. So what I had just experienced was a friendly ghost. It was not, mean or anything. It didn't make any noise. It was so quiet. Only my daughter realized or felt her presence in the dark, pitch dark room. In England, there are no lights outside like our HDB flats, and you can see the room very well. No, you can't. So the next morning at breakfast, we asked the owner of the hotel. We asked him. We said, "Is the room haunted, or is this hotel haunted?" He said, "No, only particularly your room is haunted." All three women in there to scare the living daylights out of us. So what happened was, we asked the reason why it was haunted. Well, he says, formerly the whole building was actually apartment units. And what happened was there was an elderly couple staying in the place where we were staying that night. And one day, cold winter's day, the husband had gone out for a walk. The lady was seated on the sofa by the fireplace, reading her paper. What happened was the heater, it was quite old, exploded, and she died instantly. After a while, that whole apartment block was restructured and conformed and changed into a hotel. So that's why the ghost still exists when we were staying there. All right, now, so we decided that from Truro, we should head down and see Land's End, because it would be very interesting to see what it's like. Why is it called Land's End? Truly, it was Land's End. Okay, from going through Truro to Land's End, we pass through two towns. One is St. Ives before Penzance. Now in St. Ives, the British children's nursery rhyme goes like this for St. Ives. As I was going to St. Ives, I met a man with 7 wives. Each wife had 7 cats. Each cat had 7 kittens. How many were going to St. Ives? Can anyone tell me that? Okay. So that's the end of the story, and the Land's End is a nice promontory with very nice clean grass. Thank you.